Hey, this is Tommy and Patti with Alderman Farms. We had a great chat today with Jana and Jeff Mays from Tall Oak Farm in Alabama. We talked about chickens, we talked about rabbits, and we talked a lot about black soldier flies. Here's that conversation coming up next. It's my understanding you're calling to talk about chickens.
Yeah, we've raised lots and lots of the Cornish Cross over the years, probably 500 to 600.
Yeah, way
And
more than we have.
we've always raised the Cornish Cross up until this last batch, where we raised the basically byproduct from our Bielefelder hens with our Bielefelder, our
Bielefelder rooster,
Bielefelder rooster with the
Buff Orpington, Rhode Island red hens, kind of.
and we hatched them out. When we butchered the first batch of the roosters, we ended up butchering our Bielefelder rooster as well.
Oh, did you?
That's when he got my hand.
Yeah, he had spurred Jana pretty good,
okay.
so we butchered him. But the cool thing with the chickens is about 2 weeks after they finish breeding, they're still producing fertile eggs, and so we took those eggs, put them back in the incubator, and hatched them out again. And we ended up taking those hens that we had, sold some off, and then some just added back into the flock. And all those roosters that we had, I think we ended up with like 16 out of the batch. We just butchered those up, last week. And I was a little disappointed with the body condition of them. They were about 7 pounds when we butchered them, but just carcass size and breasts were really small. They had really huge legs, really crazy, like pterodactyl legs, but just really small on the breast meat. The meat quality was pretty good, but not quite as tender as we were used to with the Cornish crosses.
Yeah. But how old were they, Jeff? Weren't they a little older?
Yeah. So our kind of mantra around here is when you crow, you got to go.
Yeah.
And so they were pushing right about 5 months, and they just started
September,
their
October, November, December, January. 4 months.
4 months old.
See, I would have thought they would have still been tender.
They were pretty good.
They were tasty.
Yeah.
Did y'all find they were tastier than the Cornish Cross?
It was comparable, I thought.
Okay.
Now, we keep a running log of our feed costs every year. And so I went back and looked at what it cost me to grow 50 Cornish Cross last year. The hatchery sent us 52, and 51 of them made it.
Wow.
So,
That's
we
awesome.
actually made a bonus. And so for raising those 51 chicks all the way to butcher, we fed them 800 pounds worth of feed. Now the same what did we end up hatching out of the last batch?
For 40.
So out of 40, I put 850 pounds worth of feed into those birds. Now that's taken into account also Jana's hens that we have out there.
And we sold.
But they're usually going through 50 pounds every month or so. Maybe 75 pounds. Not quite two bags full of just layer pellets. So and the time frame that it takes to grow them out versus the get in 2 months later, boom, done, and I have birds that are all similar size, ready to go into the freezer. So that's what we were curious about the Red Rangers. I've read
the Freedom Rangers.
The Freedom Rangers.
Yeah, and I think your Red Ranger is going to be similar, and I think they have the Rainbow too, Rainbow Rangers. I think they just have to call them something different. Actually, I had thought about trying the Cornish crosses again, and Tommy's agreed to it because at one time he said, no, we can't. We're never raising them again because they died on us and they would eat themselves to death. But y'all had such great success.
the
We
thing
rationed them.
Yeah, the thing that you need to do is those Cornish Cross, they have just been bred just to eat themselves to death, basically.
Yeah.
And so every day we would ration them to 12 pounds worth of feed.
Oh, okay.
That was it.
50 birds got 12 pounds.
Okay.
And so whether they ate it within 2 hours or they stretched it out through the day, that's all they got.
And what age were you still able to slaughter by 8 weeks?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
8 weeks, and they were averaging right around 7 pound live weight, which gives us about a 4.5 pound bird when we got done butchering.
That's perfect. Yeah.
And just by rationing them, giving them all the water that they want. I mean, they were going through 15 gallons of water every day.
Wow.
They were sucking the water down, but just by rationing them, we didn't have the heart problems that we used to have, the leg problems. You know,
because we would lose quite a few when we raised them before. There was you could just count on certain ones where they just fall over.
Yeah.
And they got to the point where they were just too fat to walk. And these ones we did a little different, and we lost one chick, and that was like the day after they arrived.
Wow.
So
Let me ask you this: how did you arrive at the 12 pounds for 50 birds?
Well, when I started looking into it, when we used to raise them before years ago, we would give them free choice feed, as much as they wanted. And right up to about 4 weeks, those chicks would never finish the feeder every day. And so our feeder just happens to be a 12 pound feeder. And then around week 5, I noticed that about I worked the night shift, so when I would come home at night, the feeder would be almost empty. Then 6 weeks, it was empty almost before I had left for work for the night. And then after that, we would weigh them every week, and I noticed that they were still gaining weight, but they were eating the same amount. And so as long as they were gaining weight every week, I just kept on feeding them that same 12 pounds worth of feed.
Makes sense. Well, and you had good sized birds too. So, I mean, it must be, and by 8 weeks, that's the thing.
And we were only feeding them a 20% chick starter, which in the past we've always fed them the broiler feed, which, is 24% and then up.
Yeah.
And, there's pluses and minuses to both sides. Those 50 chicks cost us $82.50 from the hatchery. Now, years ago when we used to raise them, they were 75 cents a chick.
Yeah.
And when you buy chicks from the hatchery, your real discounts come when you get them in 50s and hundreds, and that's where you start seeing the savings. And so we would always grow them in batches of 100. And we would do a 4-week rotation. So 4 weeks in the brooder, and then as soon as they were going out, I already had chicks ordered, and there were another chicks that were arriving. And so those 100 chicks would go outside, and and we would do that cycle usually twice, sometimes 3 every summer. And
we were also in Washington, and so we could raise them all summer long, and the heat didn't bother them.
Yeah.
We butchered last year in May, right before it started getting hot, and so the heat, we hadn't lost any, to heat, and they were still drinking a lot, but not to where, and that may be a difference. We were able to cycle them a lot longer because the summer was so much more mild.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, it sounds to me like you were very successful with the Cornish crosses. Were you looking to change from doing that?
Well, I like the fact that with the hens, when we're getting our fertile eggs from them, the roosters are byproducts. That's the way that I always think of. They're just extra.
Yeah.
So why not raise them up and get something out of them? And from that aspect, they worked out great because they didn't cost me $82.50, worth to buy them from a hatchery. And if things were to go south, I know that I can always grow my own chickens out there.
Oh,
I don't have to rely on a hatchery with some special formula to make these birds.
So what you're thinking about doing is keeping the Freedom Rangers to grow out yourself, hatch their eggs out. Okay, I got it.
Well, and they do reproduce. That's the other thing. The Cornish, when you're done, you're done.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to tell you this. There was a couple that came and got some pigs from us, and I believe it was the Freedom Rangers that they had. What was it, the Cornish? I can't remember. It may have been Cornish. But anyway, from what I've heard, like the Freedom Rangers is a four-way cross. The mom is two different chickens crossed, and so is the rooster, and then they're crossed. And so from what I understand, when they hatch out eggs, they really don't hatch out true. Some of them will. Some of them will be your nice meaty birds. Some of them will be, if Rhode Island Red is in that mix, some of them will be more like the Rhode Island Red. It's not going to necessarily be 100% pure. But I'm going to tell you this, we had, 15 to 20 Freedom Rangers that we needed to slaughter, and we were late slaughtering them, and then the dog thing happened, and then, we still haven't slaughtered them. They're laying eggs now, and they're actually crossed with our Bielefelder.
But we also have had 3 or 4 die.
Last week we had 2 drop dead.
Just drop dead.
Nothing was wrong with them. They just died. And
well, obviously something was wrong.
Well, yeah, yeah, nothing visibly wrong. But and I'm not sure, if they were maybe some of the bigger ones. And see, we're not restricting their feed.
Those carcasses were pretty heavy.
Yeah, we're not restricting their feed. Tommy just fills up the feeder, once a day? You're filling it up? They're eating it about
every day and a half, probably.
Yeah, and so, we're not restricting them.
If I fill it up this morning, they probably are done by tomorrow evening.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. But so we haven't been cautious in doing that because we have Bielefelders out there too, and, the way, especially with our laying hens and everything, Tommy just fills up the feeders, and if it'll last them 2 or 3 days, that's good, and so we really haven't restricted. You don't have to restrict the Freedom Rangers feed as much as the Cornish, but they would eat all of their feed when you'd put it out there, when it was, all of them out there. So
they also showed more interest though in scratching and going and foraging and getting some exercise and things of that nature. And
those Cornish, all they want to do is they want to
sit in front of the feeder.
They want to eat, poop, and just lay down. They are just eating, pooping machines. That's all they do.
Mm-hmm. Is that all they did even when you rationed them? Did they just hang out by the feeder and lay there?
We would move it around because we have that the poultry netting, and so they had a pretty big area, and we would move the feeder to make them
just to make them
walk across.
Yeah, but even being free range, they just love sitting.
That's what they're bred for, to eat and grow.
Yeah.
And to be for us, we've sold them, to the public and everything. And if we're going to sell to the public again, we're going to try the Cornish and probably talk to y'all again to write down exactly or watch this video. That's what we'll do. Watch the video again. We'll make sure we follow what y'all have done because y'all have been so successful. Me personally, I'm really thinking of trying to keep a few of the Freedom Rangers, let them breed to the Bielefelder. Did y'all ever weigh the carcasses once y'all had them butchered and everything? Because I know y'all weighed them before the Bielefelder cross.
No, we didn't weigh them after, but
okay. What'd you say, about 4 pounds?
Their carcass was
bony.
It's what a chicken should look like.
Yeah,
It's really, really long legs, really, really slender breast, not very big tenderloins on the back. But carcass-wise, they were full-grown birds.
Yeah.
And I was fearful of letting them get much older, because we butchered the full-grown roosters before, and the meat gets a little stringy and nothing frustrates me more than raising something for 2 to 3 months and just have it keel over on me.
Yeah.
That to me is just wasted. That's
a lot of money wasted.
Wasted meat, wasted food, and so we've raised lots and lots of quail, and the quail are very, very quick, but the end product, you get a little 10-ounce bird. There's a lot of effort that goes into getting that quail meat.
Yeah.
For my dollar, for my effort and my time, I think rabbits are the way to go, personally.
Yeah.
But what I like about the chickens is, I get the eggs. We get the meat off them. What we've been doing lately, and it's worked for us for the last two cycles now, is when we butchered that last batch of roosters, they were old enough to start breeding the hens, and we noticed we were getting fertilized eggs. So we butchered all the roosters, kept those eggs, hatched them out, and then we noticed this time too that when we just got done butchering the last roosters, we're getting fertilized eggs again. So we have eggs in the incubator right now. So as long as you keep that cycle going, it's great. It's just not as convenient as the Cornish crosses, that I can go out 2 months worth of my effort and I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Whereas I got 5 months worth of dealing with the roosters, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, what it comes down to is.
Go ahead.
I like the Cornish as far as eating.
Yeah.
We were getting the breasts were huge, and they're just meaty.
Split them down the middle, and you get four chicken breasts off of one bird.
Yeah.
But when 8 to 9 weeks rolls around, you better be ready, because they're going to start dropping like flies after that.
Yeah.
You got to be ready to go.
Yeah, and see, past butchering time, which, of course is more like 13 weeks for the Freedom Ranger, I guess we've just lost 3 though, huh? We did lose 2 last week, but it seemed like we lost one other one, or maybe 2.
Yeah, I don't know if it was 3 or 4. It seemed I lost 2 in one day. I found 2 in one day, and I don't remember if I found one another day and one another day. So it was either 3 or 4 altogether.
But they didn't die the same day. But it was raining that day, and I didn't hit it out the pen.
Oh, so you knew it was dead.
Just one.
Just one. Yeah. And she's just now telling me that. So.
Isn't he a good husband?
Yeah.
And our definite next farm investment will be the chicken plucker.
Oh,
Doing
yeah.
50 birds
Man.
by hand was crazy.
I
And
can
we've
imagine.
always hand plucked,
So. Man, I can't even imagine that.
But the last time prior to us getting stationed here was, back in 2002.
4.
Yeah, 2 to 4. That's when we were heavy into growing the broiler chickens, and I was 23, 24 years old, and this little old lady from our church would come over
She loved it.
every 4 weeks, and we would butcher those chickens up. And I don't know whether I forgot over the years or what, but we would hand pluck all those birds, and then we get here and we get back into it again. And that first batch, I'm thinking to myself, what were we thinking?
Yeah.
We're just plucking, And with the Cornish, it's a lot easier because most of them are missing feathers anyway.
Yeah.
They don't put the energy into growing their feathers.
But when you start getting into raising non-Cornish chickens, like actual chickens, there's all those little pin feathers, and the feathers are everywhere.
Yeah.
And so it just multiplies, and so now your 2-hour job turns into a 6-hour job because you're out there spending 30 minutes plucking a chicken. So that's definitely something that we're looking into, and we haven't really set yet on which one that we're looking to. I was looking into building one of the whiz bangs or one of the little drill powered ones, and I think just buy it, just get it, get something that's going to be good and do it.
Yeah, well, and I really had looked into making one too. I have a wash machine. It's still sitting on the back porch because it's just that little thing that in the top that needs to be replaced, really, But we ended up, Mama got a new one, so we got Mama's old one and all that. But anyway, so
we're in Mississippi. You're required to have a washing machine on your back porch.
We had one in our garage for quite a while.
Yeah,
too.
well, you understand. But so it would have been no big deal for us. We wouldn't have had to go searching for an old washing machine to be able to build one. But when I got to adding up the cost, it was still going to cost, I want to say $300, because then I was going to have somebody make something metal or something for me too, because we don't weld and all that. And I thought, me's go spend $300 on this, getting this ready, and it not work. So that's what I was afraid of. That's why, and like I told Jana, we were going to buy the one that's $600, and they were out. And so we ended up going the next step up.
And I'm glad we did.
I mean, it's paid for now, and we have rented it,
3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and then this younger couple, we rent it for $50. We get to take a $50 deposit, and it's mostly people like us, so I haven't worried about it. But actually, somebody, was he in the Coast Guard? Or Navy, but he was stationed on the coast, and they drove all the way here because they were being moved somewhere else, and so they went ahead and slaughtered everything, and so they came and got it. But
and we could rent it more,
Yeah, if we advertised it, yeah.
I mean, we never did advertise it.
No, we didn't. We mentioned it in passing, maybe like on Facebook or something like that. That's how people knew. And so, if we've rented it 4 times, we've made $200, and we could easily have made back that money. But this younger couple, because they rented it from us the first time. Mm-hmm. We've kind of traded work. They've come and helped us when we slaughtered, and in exchange for them using the plucker, and stuff like that. But which is a huge help, y'all know. It's nice to have extra hands that know what they're doing, and everything.
And it takes about 12 seconds to do 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is quite a improvement over.
And if you get the key is the temperature of the water. Mm-hmm. And some people say 145, some people say 150, some people say 152. You just have to experiment.
And it depends on the age of your bird too. I think
the age of your bird, but you'll learn it. I mean, the first time it may not come out just right, and you may have to pluck a few. And
I mean, almost all of them. There's maybe a few little things we have to do. Sometimes the tail feathers don't come out like they should. But I've told my customers, you don't eat that little thing. And so it just looks better. We always
chop it off anyway.
Yeah, that's what we do too.
I just told them it's going to be cut off from now on. So,
but occasionally you'll pull 2 birds out of there that are slap naked. Mm-hmm. I mean, where it will get every single one of them. Mm-hmm. And we learned prior to our last one, when we were dunking the chickens in the scalding pot, I was holding on to their feet.
Yeah, listen to this.
Scalding like that. And somebody said, "Oh,
no, it was the little guy that comes and helps us."
Yeah, it was Daniel. He said, "Oh, no." He said, "Get you a stick." And he said, "Put their feet down in there, too." And we put their feet down in there and scalded the whole bird, feet and all. And when you throw them in there, it skins their feet. I mean, all the outside part of the feet comes off. And their feet
they're ready. They're ready for the pot.
White. They're ready for the pot,
Yeah, I sit and pick all that. After he puts them in, then we have a bucket of feet, and then I, scald those in ice water, and then I sit there and pick them all off.
Oh no, it comes off
they
plucker.
Are slick. I mean, every once in a while, that skin's kind of hard. You might have a couple that you have to, but I mean, that does better than the feathers. I mean,
every
it's
once
amazing.
in a while there'll be a piece like between their toes, and where the pad of their foot, there's a deep crevice right there. And sometimes it'll be stuck in there, but it's just a matter of grabbing it and pulling it off, But most of the time, they come out slick. I mean, just absolutely slick. It's
amazing. You just use a big pot for scalding and a propane burner?
Yeah, big crawfish pot.
And an older ice chest he uses. And Daniel, the little guy that comes and helps us, he actually told Tommy about bathing the birds because they're nasty anyway. But that's not really necessarily the reason. But as he dunks them in and washes them off, and I mean we put soap in there, some Dawn in there, and Tommy he ruffles them around and all. Well, the water's soaking all the way through their feathers, and so he pulls them up and lets that drain out some and then he puts them in the scalding water, and it just does so much better. They come out so much cleaner.
So it keeps you from having
making a bath, but they're dead first. I mean, they're
Yeah, they go from the killing cone to the bath, and it's soapy
Oh,
water.
also he changes that water every once in a while, so you don't have to change your scalding water. Your scalding water don't get so nasty.
Yeah,
It gets all gritty. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It gets all messy down there in the bottom.
It smells so bad.
I usually
Well,
change,
it don't with doing it like this.
I usually change the bathing water one time. I think only once.
You might have done when we done 50. I think you might have changed it twice.
Maybe, but I don't think we changed the scalding water at all.
No, we didn't. We didn't have to change the scalding water at all.
No, it wasn't pristine. It got murky, but not nearly like it did before we
That
started.
big old layer of foam that
Yeah.
kind of floats up to the top of all the dirt and
Yeah, it didn't do that.
Yeah, nasty.
Yeah,
We call that funk.
yeah, funky stuff.
Not funk, funk.
Funk. Yeah.
It's nasty, but I'm so encouraged about as far as personal use. Now, like Patty said, if we're going to do commercial stuff again, it only makes sense to try, for us anyway, to try the Cornish one more time because of the 8-week thing, and because we're not making any money. I mean, it's amazing what people will pay for these birds.
Yeah.
But you have to charge it to make it worth your while.
Mm-hmm.
And but for our personal use, now Patty has got a cross in mind, but my hope is I'm in love with the Bielefelders.
Yeah.
And they are, one of their nicknames is the Uber Chicken, and we've only got 2 hens and 4 roosters. Just
4 or 6, yeah.
Luck of the draw, luck of the hatch. And those 2 hens, though, are routinely laying double yolk eggs.
Yes.
I think both of them.
Yeah.
And the
He's
eggs are
bringing in a double
huge.
yolk every day. But was y'all's Bielefelder rooster pure, or was he a cross also?
No,
he was pure.
And so what? His breast was not good either. Not.
Well, he was old.
Yeah, he was
Probably 2.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
no,
he
but how was
large.
the size of him though? I mean, was he?
He was probably pushing 10 pounds. He was
He was huge.
Okay. But I mean, did you find the breast was a little more full on him compared to the crosses?
It was a little bit better, but most of his growth was in the legs.
Okay.
Like, I'm talking like turkey drumstick size length
Yeah.
legs.
Yeah.
But just what a chicken should look like,
Yeah,
versus what everybody thinks that a chicken looks like when you buy it in the store.
Yeah.
And that's what you get with the Cornish cross is that same exact chicken that everybody thinks of.
Yeah.
These natural chickens look more like a toy rubber chicken, when you get done.
Yeah.
But they're real long in the body, really long legs, really long neck,
Mm-hmm.
which turns out great for us when we're making all the bone broth and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're not big on the legs. We don't really eat
But
legs.
see, we like that the best. So.
the breasts,
Yeah.
And with Cornish, mostly we're cooking them whole, like a rotisserie style chicken. But
we save everything.
Yeah.
Necks and feet go into bone broth, and we've got the gizzards and livers and hearts and stuff too. So even the backbones, when I cut them out, those go into a bag for bone broth later. We do the same with the rabbits too.
Yeah.
I could eat a 5-gallon bucket of gizzards and hearts.
Yeah. We don't even sell those. I keep them, and
She keeps them for me.
Well, when I fry chicken, I'll fry that too to make the chicken go further, and everything. But one thing I want to tell you about the Freedom Rangers, they do not have the huge breast like the Cornish. Now, it's much bigger than your egg layer birds, and everything. But it's still not as big as the Cornish, the breast. I find that the legs and thighs are though. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so.
They would be comparable anyway. Maybe not as big, but comparable. But the breasts are not as big as the Cornish.
See, I don't want to. You mentioned this earlier, Jeff. I don't want to buy any more chicks. I don't. And so, if we can develop a bird, if it turns out to be the Bielefelders, great. If not, Patty's talking about crossing our Delaware.
No, the Bielefelder and the Freedom Ranger hens that we have left.
Yeah, but before that, you were talking about using the Delaware.
No, that's an egg layer. I'm gonna make sex link chickens. For eggs. That's eggs.
Oh, okay.
That's eggs.
That's going to be for our layers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, with this batch, I'm hoping to raise them like we raised the Cornish, usually separated from the hens. You know, with this last batch of the roosters, everybody was in the same coop, and so they're mingling with each other. You know, whereas if we keep them separate and
we just
raise,
don't have the eggs.
Yeah, you know, and we raise this batch just like we raised the Cornish. You know, feed them
Chick starter
20% protein for the whole time. I'm curious to see whether they'll finish out better than they did. You know, because they were in there eating layer pellets, you know, which I think are like 16%. So I mean, but they're also eating bugs and, you know, leftovers. And what we ended up doing last time is taking all the guts and stuff when we butchered, put them in a 55-gallon bucket. Now
we have black soldier flies.
Now for the first week, it was nasty. I mean, it was just a 55-gallon drum that was halfway full of guts. Yes. But when those black soldier flies took over, they went. I mean, it was swimming out there with black soldier fly maggots by the tens of thousands. And all I did was just prop that 55-gallon drum over on its edge, like at a 45-degree angle. And when those maggots, you know, decide that they're done growing and they want to turn into flies, they go crawling out of there. And it was like an all-you-can-eat buffet for those hens. They were standing by there all day long eating. And so at least we got something out of the guts versus like burning them or
and they don't
them in the
smell.
Garbage.
Once the black soldier flies are in there, because we're in a neighborhood, we're not, you know, we have less than an acre, probably less than, you know, probably about a half acre that we have all the animals on. But with the black soldier flies, they're under the rabbits too. In there, we have like, they look like planter box, like raised beds, but it's just where the rabbit, because they hang, and the soldier flies are in there too. That's the first place the chickens go when they get out, or if we let them out, they go right under the rabbits. But that bucket on the side, when they start climbing up, they were just sitting there. You know, a few would get in there and scratch and stir stuff up, and there'd be more but coming out, and they'd just stand all around there. It was just like a little smorgasbord buffet for them.
I've actually seen that. I mean, there's people with videos out there, you know, about how
and y'all should have a video about that. So.
Well, it's a natural occurring insect down here in the South mostly. And when the temperature gets over about 80 degrees, so, you know, that's about April for us, you know, or right now, you know, because it's been in the 70s and 80s here lately. But those black soldier flies just start reproducing, and they always lay right where they were born. So as long as we keep the bucket where it is, and then in the wintertime when it's cooler here, they just hibernate down inside of the worm bins. And then when the summer comes out, I mean, I'm talking that those worm bins are looking like ocean water out there, just churning around. There are millions of worms.
Throw, you know, something in there, a carcass in there, and you can just see it get pulled down underneath, and it's just gone.
Wow!
I mean,
they're amazing. Bones
and everything. It is, and that 55-gallon drum went from being probably weighing. Enough, dogs. Weighing 200 pounds worth of guts down to weighing about 15 pounds of nothing but black dirt compost by the time they were done.
It's amazing compost for the garden too.
And the whole process probably took a month and a half. And by
just sitting it out there, letting the black soldier flies do their thing.
Do their thing. It's what they're doing to raccoons and possums on the side of the road. It's just that we're doing it in our own backyard, and you know, I mostly started with the quail because the quail
they stink.
They're like little tiny miniature Cornish cross.
Yeah.
All they do is eat and they poop, and it stinks. And then I noticed that there were, you know, as I would scrape their poop trays out, that there was like little bugs in there. And I started looking into it, and it turned out to be these black soldier flies. And then I noticed that like once they really started and we really got thousands of them, that there wasn't any smell. Wow. And they're churning it so much back there that there's no little pockets for ammonia to form or anything, because it's just constantly churning, constantly getting aerated. I mean, it's one of those like crazy things that just worked out for us. And
yeah.
I'm going to have a road trip to come see this with my own eyes and nose.
It's amazing, and we'll take Jeff will grab a shovel or a bucket, and that's the chicken's favorite thing. They know when that big bucket starts coming towards there, he'll just take a couple scoops out of the worm bins and throw them in there and then toss them in. Those chickens go crazy. And we tried mealworms at one point.
Yeah. And
they were just a pain. And they they like them.
Yeah.
The quail didn't like them.
No.
And we've done fodder. We've grown wheatgrass for the rabbits and for the chickens. The chickens like it a lot. Mm-hmm. But the black soldier are pretty amazing.
That is something. Now, y'all, do y'all raise stuff to feed your rabbits, or is it mainly commercial feed?
We have raised the fodder, but the problem we were finding down here is with the humidity. The fodder went from smelling like cucumbers. That's how fodder should smell, like fresh sliced cucumbers, just a really clean smell.
Sweet grass.
And the fodder process takes about 7 days. And in that 7 days, as the temperature started rising and the humidity went up, it would smell like yeasty beer. And really? The rabbits didn't like it.
No.
So we tried cleaning the buckets out and then trying it again. So in the wintertime, it works really great down here, but we have been having just these ups and downs with the temperature lately, to where it's 80 and then down into the 40s and the 30s. And
it wouldn't even work this winter to do it, would it? As warm as it. See, we've been real warm too. We're real far south too, so we've been almost as warm as y'all, I think.
But what I like about the rabbits, they get one tuna fish can worth of feed every day. That's what they get. So
per rabbit,
it's about,
or all of them?
Per rabbit. That's about 5 ounces. Mm-hmm. Now, down here, starting around May, we stop breeding them. Mm-hmm. So that's their maintainer food throughout the summer. Mm-hmm. And then when October rolls around, when we start breeding season again, then the bred does, they get as much food as they want to eat.
Oh, okay.
But
hay.
Yep.
And hay.
Yeah, and then free choice hay. They get free choice hay all the time.
Yeah.
And so their pellets are like candy to them, and then their hay is their long forage, which gives them all that fiber to keep them regular.
Yeah.
Is it just regular old hay? Or
it's not fancy alfalfa hay, just regular old grass, Timothy, whatever you want to call it. But
and then our does that have kits, they get black oil sunflower seeds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's their little bonus for giving us babies. I mean, that's the way they think of it, but really, it just makes their milk really, really fatty, which gets those kits large. The biggest growth you're going to see in those kits is while they're still in the nest box for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And that's even when I weigh them, that those first 2 weeks, they go from being about 3 ounces when they're born to close to 1.5 to 2 pounds.
Wow.
And then the rest of the time, so they come out of the nest box at about 2 weeks, and they stay with their mom till 6 weeks. So from that time when they come out of the nest box, so 2 weeks until 8 weeks, they gain right around another 3 pounds. So when we butchered yesterday, they were 9 weeks old yesterday when I butchered, and they were pushing 5 pounds 3 ounces is what most of them were, and it's just all white meat, just like you get off a chicken breast. It's
is that carcass weight or live weight?
So yesterday, when I got done butchering, we had 30 pounds worth of carcass weight.
11.
Then today, I ended up breaking them down and deboning them. Out of that 30 pounds, I have it written down, but it was like 4 pounds 2 ounces was bones. So
Wow.
I had 25 pounds worth of meat off of 11 rabbits.
Oh, you almost got as much meat as we did off of 3 pigs.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about the rabbits is those real skinny bones in there. So, I don't lose all that weight that I'm weighing. I don't lose that all to bone weight or to hide or to whatever. And they're simple. They're
what do you have the cost
easy to butcher
in 8 weeks? Because we raise them the same as the Cornish. They go 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Somewhere he has the breakdown of how much feed they get and.
But with the, I've run the benefits of raising chickens versus rabbits. With the rabbits, I don't have to have any electricity. That doe does everything for me. She incubates them. She hatches them out. She does everything for me. Whereas with the chickens, it's real hard pressed to find chickens nowadays that are going to want to sit on a nest other than like a silky.
Right.
That's all they do is just sit on their nest.
Yeah.
We have one.
What breed of rabbit do you have?
So we have Californians and we have New Zealands. So we have one New Zealand buck and one California buck, and then we have 3 California does and 3 New Zealand does.
Which ones have the red eyes?
Both of them do.
Oh.
The Californians have black noses and black ears during the winter time. In the summertime, when they get hot, everything bleaches out and they'll look just like a New Zealand. It's when their warmest parts of their body, which are their ears, their nose, and their feet, are what change colors in the wintertime to help reabsorb that cold.
Know that.
I just found it easier to butcher rabbits with red eyes.
Devil rabbits.
Yeah, because it was like they looked like they had demons in them or something.
Because they're still cute when you slaughter rabbits. They're still cute,
Cute and fluffy, but then I would look at those red eyes and say, "You got to go."
Well, we found the solution to that is that you always just keep having extra batches. So when the kids are out there playing with the babies, right about the time that they aren't cute little fuzzy balls anymore, that's the time that they go into the freezer. And you got a whole other batch, and so they're all excited about the
new babies.
Now that we have older kids, everybody knows where everything comes from here, so we're not too worried about it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, shit, man, I was under the impression you were calling to ask us questions. I think we've learned.
Yeah, we've learned. We've learned a lot.
No, I was curious about those Freedom Rangers and the Red Rangers and the and the rainbows and all that. I've read about them over the years, and
I think you'll be more pleased with them than the mixed ones that you raised. As far as their carcass and everything, you'll be more pleased with them because they act like a chicken, and you're going to be able to free range them, and they're going to go scratch and eat. You'll be more pleased with them like that. But as far as their carcass, it's not as big as the cross, and it is going to cost more. They cost more. It cost me $12 to produce from start to finish to produce a Freedom Ranger. Then that's counting my ice. I have bought ice, and I've been trying to keep my ice frozen lately where I don't have to buy ice. And I didn't buy as much last time. I did have to buy a few bags. But, that's counting the bags that I bag them in and my labels that I have to have when I'm selling them. But it's cost me $12 to raise one of those. And so, they're just with the extra growth.
Yeah.
The longer growth,
And it costs more for the chicks.
Yeah. I think I ended up getting mine. Now I ordered 100. Oops, sorry. And I usually get people to go in with me because we didn't want 100. And I ended up with, did I end up with 75? Because somebody backed out.
So. Yeah.
But I only wanted 50. And so we ended up paying total $1.55 each for them. That was with shipping.
$1.55.
But that included shipping. They really cost $1.15, but then when you add shipping, it's $1.55 each.
Yeah, so right off the bat, you're already $1.55 in the hole, you know, and that's why I wanted to try these other batch of roosters, you know, but you know, in the long haul, we didn't really raise these birds like we typically raise the Cornish, and so I don't feel like we gave them a full shake in the deal, you know. So with, you know,
the batch that's in the incubator.
Yeah, here in 19 days or whatever, when those other ones hatch, we're going to raise those just like we did with the broilers, and we're going to give them a full shakedown.
Yeah. A different feed.
And then we're going to see, you know, how they compare, because, you know, if they do compare pretty well, then we're going to continue on with let the roosters get old enough to start reproducing with the hens, and then we'll get rid of the roosters, and we'll just do this little cycle.
Well, and, you know, like I have extra Bielefelder roosters now. I mean, you know, and I mean, you could always throw a pure rooster in, a Bielefelder in, because they are bigger every once in a while, to keep that percentage a little higher, because they are a bigger chicken, you know, something like that.
And I think with the Freedom Rangers, I think, is it right to say that the Red Rangers and all these other Rangers are basically the same bird?
I think they are.
The birds that are called Freedom Rangers, I think, you know, you're locked down to one hatchery, Freedom Ranger hatcheries.
You are.
That's the only place you can get them.
But the other hatcheries, in my research, when looking to where to order them, the other hatcheries are just as expensive or more expensive to order them for the reds. Yeah.
Well, most of them, even if most of the chicks are coming out of Arkansas, you know, that's where, you know, 90% of chicks come from. Even if you're buying them from, you know, McMurray or whoever you're buying them from, they're putting them in a, you know, well, all the eggs, let's say, all the eggs come from from Arkansas, and then all those hatcheries hatch them out, you know. And so, you know, you're talking maybe 5 or 10 farms that are growing these, you know, and they name them whatever they want to name them, you know. It's their little proprietary information. But yeah, you know, I think we're going to give these crosses that we have one more shot. We're going to, you know, we're going to do it upright. We're going to treat them like we did with the Cornish and see how they turn out, you know, because everything is about keeping things going, you know.
Right. I agree.
And so, you know, I hate that jaunt that you have to do of, well, I can only get them from this one place, and, you know.
And like you said, if there's something happens, you know, just like the bird flu and all that stuff, if something like that happens, we're not going to get any more chicks, you know. So
I definitely want to have a plan B in place where I can get them from my backyard.
Yeah, I mean, for our chickens that we grow ourselves, you know, I want to have something that I can raise myself.
We've got a 180 egg incubator, you know, so we just need to be able to have to produce. And again, I'm more and more enamored with the Bielefelder, you know, as an all-purpose bird.
And ours have been real docile. I'm surprised yours jumped on you.
Well, we were catching the younger ones were getting ready to butcher, and I grabbed one, and he squawked, and our big Roo, he came after me, and he caught me right in the wrist. I mean, his spurs were a good inch and a half, 2 inches long.
Yeah.
And he was, and since where we live, he wore a sock. He didn't crow. He wore a toddler, a baby sock. We cut the toe off and put it on. And he was huge. He could eat, drink, do his rooster duties, but he didn't crow because he couldn't inflate that air sac.
Oh, wow.
And so for us being here, it didn't bother the neighbors because he didn't crow. I mean, he kind of, you know, quietly.
Yeah, like a little thing, but
it wasn't loud, like full on rooster crow.
Yeah.
Nothing says that we can't have roosters. You know, we live out in the county, but just, you know, it just makes life easier not having roosters going. And yeah, I mean, Manfred, he was a pretty cool little chicken. It's just he got
Manfred.
Yeah. He had a name.
Bielefelder, you know. And so
my German friend named him.
He needed a proper German name.
But my Bielefelder hens are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, they're hefty girls. and they look like duck eggs. They lay the biggest, and they're just single yolk
They
eggs.
are single? Okay.
And then I have one that is a Cochin Bielefelder cross. She's got the furry feet.
What do you call her? Cher?
Yeah.
And but she lays these super, super dark brown eggs. But the other ones are you've seen the pictures of them. They're, have you seen them? The girls are Rhode Island red Buff Orpingtons, which are amazing layers.
Yeah.
And super docile. And so
we loved our Buff Orpingtons. That's what we started with, was the Buff Orpingtons.
Teddy bears. Yeah.
That's what we started. That's what those roosters, the very first roosters we butchered were Buff Orpingtons, because we had just got straight run chicks.
Oh,
I'm showing Tommy your pictures, and that would be the Bielefelder.
Pretty.
Right there. So.
But very, very large body frame size. And so that's why I was, excited to see what their meat quality would be.
Yeah.
And when we butchered him, I mean, he was pushing 2 years plus, and so we kind of knew he was going to be stringy, but I was just curious what a younger version would look like.
Yeah. We've got a few that we need to butcher. They're really not up to par as far as their coloring and stuff like that. Plus, we have too many, and we ought to do that Saturday.
Sure. That's fine with me. Hey, I definitely want you to let us know, though. Keep us posted on how this next round of your experiment goes.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how that pans out.
And we're also going to be hatching out. I'm going to start I sell layers every year, and so I'm going to be getting my incubator going. I have to do some separation with the chickens and everything, but we're going to be hatching out some more pure Bielefelders, and I'm going to collect the Freedom Ranger eggs too and hatch them out, and so we'll have a good comparison to see what the Bielefelder Freedom Ranger looks like. They actually make a real big bird.
We have 82 eggs in the incubator right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
they went in Wednesday.
And we were collecting for what?
A week and a
half.
I get about 10 to 12 eggs a day from I have 17, about 17 that lay. I have one silky that just wants to sit on everybody's eggs, and then one little bantam that we just call Little Meanie.
Yeah.
And she's this tiny little thing, and she rules the pen.
Yeah.
She doesn't do anything. She just...
Except crap on stuff, I bet.
Yeah. On whatever.
An egg, but she just hangs out. She's just the figure point, I guess, in the backyard, But.
And all that information came from a simple question about Freedom Rangers. We learned so much from Jana and Jeff, way more than what I think they learned from us. But anyway, we had a great time talking with them. We hope to do it again soon. But look, if you have any questions for us or for even Jana and Jeff, write them down in the comments below. And if you haven't, please subscribe. We hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching. Is it time?
Mm-hmm. Raise your head up or something so your eyes are aren't glared.
That looks stupid.